In this video, I will be making symbols for Holy Week. For this, I'm using just some small cards. They could even be index cards. They're just, it's kind of a little bit of a thicker piece, and I've got 6 of them here. And I'm using a ruler and some tape, a pencil. These cards are about 3 by 6 inches, but it really doesn't matter the size. And my tape seems to fit right on them, so I'm going to use this kind of as a guide here. And I'm going to trace around just the top part of my tape to create like an arch. And then I want to extend this curved line down kind of on the side here of this card with a straight line. And I'm going to do that on the other side as well. I want to kind of create this straight line that goes down the side of my card. And then I'm going to make a straight line at the bottom edge of my card as well, so that it's like this nice little arched window. And I am going to go ahead and trace this one with Sharpie so that it has a really nice outline. So here's my first one. I'm using a black Sharpie marker because I will be painting these, and the Sharpie is a permanent marker, so it will not bleed with paint or watercolor. And I'm going to outline this first one so that it's nice and strong and bold here. And then I also want to have my other ones match this. So as I cut this one out, I could also cut all of mine out at the same time, or you could kind of use it to trace on the other ones and cut those as well. But I do want to have 6 of the same shape all cut out and all nice and neat, the same size, so that it works for this project. So you can see I'm really taking my time to cut along my black line. I'm going all the way around. I'm just doing one paper for now, but then I will go ahead and do the others. So if you need to pause the video so that you can go ahead and cut out your first one and then go ahead and do all 6, I'll be jumping ahead to the next step after that is complete. At this point, I have all 6 of my pieces cut out, and now I'm going to draw some things that remind me of Holy Week. The first thing I'm going to draw is a palm branch, and I'm starting off with the center of the palm branch. It's kind of at a diagonal, and then I'm going to add each of the leaves of the palm branch, starting with the one way at the end, and then I'll kind of add a couple of leaves going down. I'm trying to make them diagonal from the center, and they get a little bit wider too as they come down from the tip. And the reason I'm doing a palm branch is for Palm Sunday, when Jesus rode into Jerusalem. This is a good symbol to remind us of his entrance into Jerusalem, where all the people were waving their palm branches and yelling, "Hosanna, Hosanna!" So I am going to keep this very simple with a palm branch picture. And that is my first little window. So the palm branch started off the week. I was thinking I would do a cross next, because a cross is obviously very important in Holy Week, as Jesus died on the cross on Good Friday. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one next. And I'm going to just start off with the top part of the cross here. It looks like a rectangle without the bottom line. And then I'm going to go out for the sides. And then I'm going to bring these lines down and then come back in towards the middle. And then I'm going to go down all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to keep this cross pretty simple, but if you would like to even make it 3D, you could. I do have another tutorial on drawing fancier crosses on my channel, Ehlke Art, but I think that's going to be another symbol. All right, and in thinking about other things in Holy Week, I'm trying to think of some other symbols or things that happened during that week that I could draw. So I'm going to go ahead and start with another one. For this one, I'm thinking of Maundy Thursday, where Jesus instituted the Lord's Supper. So I have a squished oval, and I'm going to bring a curved line down on either side to make it look like a cup. And then I wanted to add a little bottom section here with a little rounded edge. I'm doing something a little bit fancier for this so it looks like more of a wine glass instead of just a little cup. And then this will be the bottom section of the glass or the chalice. And I'm going to also add some bread. So on Maundy Thursday, Jesus did the bread and the wine with his disciples, right? He passed the bread and said, take and eat. And he passed the wine and said, take and drink. That's during Holy Week. So I'm going to go ahead and use this as my third idea. All right. I'm thinking of some other important things that happened during Holy Week, some things that I could show in my images. Let's see. Another thing that happened was that Jesus washed his disciples' feet. So I was thinking that I could make kind of a pitcher of water, some type of jug that could carry water that might have been poured out into a bowl or a basin. I'm going to add maybe a little handle here, and then I'm also going to add like a kind of a bowl shape right behind this to show that this would have been used by Jesus to wash his disciples' feet. That also happened, I believe, on Thursday. And I'm just going to kind of make this bowl behind so that that can represent that. You could also even add a towel, or if you wanted to add a foot in there, you could do that as well. But I think I'm going to keep it pretty simple. All right, another thing that I thought might be good would be to add some hands praying. And Jesus went into the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. That's another event from Holy Week. And so I'm going to make these two hands that are like right next to each other praying with kind of an arm. So there's the thumb, and here's the other fingers. I'm just going to try to keep it pretty simple with some simple lines. And then if you want to, you can kind of show a second hand in there too. Maybe I'll just make a little bit of the second hand showing behind the first one, not all of it. So those are supposed to be like the praying hands. And maybe I'll add a little stripe here on the arm. Do two stripes to show kind of where the clothes would be. And then this was in the garden, so I'm going to put the ground, and then maybe I'll add kind of some trees to show that Jesus was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane. And I don't want it to be too fancy or too detailed. I'm trying to keep these pretty simple. But I wanted to go ahead and at least put maybe like some trees here on the sides to show that Jesus went to the garden to pray. All right, I have one more picture left, and so I think I'm just going to stick with Jesus' suffering here with the crown of thorns. So I'm making a thorny circle, and I'm adding the thorns as I go around the outside here, and they can be, close together, far apart, and then I'm going to make a line inside with some thorns going towards the center. And of course, Jesus, when he was before Pontius Pilate, had a crown of thorns put on his head, kind of making fun of him as the king of the Jews. So there is my crown of thorns. Now, these are just 6 ideas. There are so many other symbols we could use For this project, we could do something with Jesus going into the temple. We could do something relating to Peter denying Jesus with maybe a rooster or something like that. I mean, there's so many different events. So these are just the 6 that I picked, some that stood out in my mind. And I am going ahead and adding some color. Now, as you can see, I'm using watercolor for these, and I'm just kind of jumping to each one, adding some color quick to these symbols. And then once I have added some color, I will put them all together. You could also use crayons or markers or colored pencils, but here is the collection all colored now. So I have my 6, and now I'm going to think about the order that they go in, or the order that they happen. So at this point, I did put them in the correct order that they occurred. So I have the cross, of course, at the end. I've got Palm Sunday at the beginning and the other ones in between, just so that that is correct. And I'm going to go ahead and glue them down to my black paper. As you can see here, they are all glued. And that is the finished project. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this lesson and had fun with coming up with ways that we can remember Holy Week during the season of Lent. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again on my channel, Ehlke Art.